Hey everyone, this is Daniel, and this is a continuation of my PowerApps Hidden Gem series, and this is the third video. Now I've made this as a little special one, a little something, because this one has got a whole bunch of UI and UX interfaces over here, the new features. So just so that everybody knows, UI stands for user integration and UX stands for user experience. Okay, so these are the 5 things that I'm going to be covering in this video, and that is the SetFocus function, the notify function, with function, the add, find, and switch icons, and the rotation function. Now, I know I'm going to be covering all 5 of these, and I'm going to spend some time with examples over here. But say if anytime you want to come back and review them, just look at the description below, because what I've done is in the description I've actually provided a timestamp of how you can just skip to the next one. That way you don't have to watch the entire thing, and it'll tell you that, hey, if you just want to watch with function, then you can just fast forward to this one timestamp over there. Alright, so enough with the talking, let's jump into the app. Okay, so I'm going to jump now into my app itself. I'm going to close that, and here we are. So I'm going to now create a Canvas app, and in my Canvas app I'm going to go ahead and open it. And once it's opening, the first thing I do is I go ahead and save it. So let me do that. It's opening, and I'll use a tablet layout. And once it's opened, first things first, go ahead and save it. So I'm going to call this a Hidden Gems Series 3 demo. I'll call this as there, change some colors, save it, and once I got the app built, once I got it saved, I can go ahead and start working on it. So like I said, showed in that PowerPoint, I'm going to kind of break it down into 5 different pieces. So in this section, I'm going to talk about the SetFocus screen, or the SetFocus function. So I'm going to go and just call this as the SetFocus screen. That way I know what's going on over there. In the SetFocus function, one of the neat things I like about it is that it gives you control over how you can let your users focus on which field. So a great way to actually explain it is just by demonstrating. So what I'm going to do is actually have an app available over here. So let me see if I can just go ahead and copy some of the controls from there really fast. Control C, Control V should let me do all that. Beautiful. Let me copy it nicely. And then I'll just explain to you in a second what it is. I'll also, as you guys know, I like headers and footers in my app. So I'll go ahead and add that over here. For any of you who have been following, know I have the Powered by PowerApps as my great footer over here. It's kind of my title, it's my thing. You guys are welcome to copy it. And then let me go ahead and save it. Alright, so first things first, let's just talk about what are these controls added. Okay, simple, nothing fancy. What I've done over here is I've put in a few labels, like all of these over here are just labels. No formulas or magic added to any of this, just labels over here. And then I've also added some of the text functions. There's one over here. This is just the checkbox control. And then I've also gone ahead and added some text input. Now, what I'm attempting to do over here is that in this case, I want it such that if the checkbox is created, then whatever I type over here should directly go ahead and get populated over here. Because if the person who is actually the person whose name and shipping address is the exact same as the billing address, then it's just makes sense that they get copied over there. Now the copying piece is pretty easy, right? Let me just walk you through that piece. So if I just go ahead and hit play, I just type in as John Doe, shipping address is 123 Microsoft Way, Pentoso, Washington 54321. All right. So as you noticed that when I was typing it in over there, these ones will get populated. Now that's pretty simple, all right? That's not the intentions of this video. And I'll just show it to you what's happening. When I go to this text field, and I go to its default, going, default over here, you see that its default is the same text as the shipping name, and that text is over here. See, shipping name, shipping name, shipping name. So the default value is whatever I type in over there, and you just noticed it, right? Because I typed it in, it goes over there. It directly gets populated right here. Same thing on the billing address. Again, same thing. I just go up to the top. I go to default. This default value is the same as this one's shipping address. See, shipping address, shipping address, shipping address, and this was full name, full name, full name over there. Shipping name, that is. All right, so, but the magic that I want to do is using the SetFocus. I want it such that if I go ahead and uncheck this, I want the users who are using this app set their focus directly on the billing name over here. So watch what happens when I uncheck this. See that the cursor is already blinking over here, telling me that the user, hey, this is where you need to go ahead and make the change now, because you just told me that the billing address is different. So first thing you want to do is change the billing name. So let's take a look at how I did that. All right. So first thing is all the magic actually happens in this checkbox over here. So in the checkbox, what I'm doing is, when it is by default on select, by default it is, it's on select is just it's false over here. But over here, when I go to on uncheck, I'm telling it that, hey, if you are unchecking this, that means I want the end users to go ahead and focus on the full name. So that's why I've said that on uncheck, go ahead and put the SetFocus to this billing location over here, the billing's full name, and that's why it is the I call it the SF, which is SetFocus billing name. That's what I wanted over here. Now, say for example, the chances are the name is going to be always the same. Chances are it's just that the person's shipping address is different as the billing address. So let's go ahead and just change that, just so that you can see how it works. What I'm going to do is now over here on its uncheck, I'm going to say, hey, if you go ahead and uncheck this, then I want you guys to change the billing address. So let's go ahead and get the billing address name. So then I click over here. This is the control name of the billing address. Now, if you guys have worked with me, or if you know how I attend my sessions, one of the ways I do is I just double click over here, and then I do a Control-C to copy it. That way I don't have any typos or any trouble in getting the actual name of what that is. I don't have to even type it in. I just got the name over here. Okay, so let's go back to this checkbox over here, and again, on its uncheck, now I'm going to set my focus directly on the billing address section over there. And you see when I type it over here, it gives it the color green. It colors green over here just to help you kind of not make a mistake. But let's think through again what I did. I used the SetFocus function over here, and what I'm now doing is that if you've gone ahead and unchecked it, the chances are your name is the same, but I want, it's just the billing address. I want you to immediately take the cursor straight to the billing address so that users can start, changing the address over there. So now everything is good, but if I uncheck it, watch what happens. The cursor by default comes over here, and that really helps from those people like me who are keyboard people, because now you've gone ahead and unchecked it, and now I can just start doing backspace, and just change it to something else. That is the beauty of the SetFocus over here. Again, just to walk through, what I did was the main place where I put the SetFocus is over here in the checkbox, but in the checkbox I specifically use the uncheck property over there, because in the uncheck property I'm telling you that if you've unchecked it, then I want the end users to set focus on the primary place. And initially I showed how the SetFocus can be on the billing full name. Now I can say that, hey, I want the SetFocus to be on the shipping address over here. So this was the whole idea of the SetFocus function. If you go to the description over here, I've put in the link of that because there's some examples over there. There's the expression of how you typed in, but I've actually kind of explained it to you that this is how the SetFocus works. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the next expression over here, and that is the notify screen. So in the notify screen, I'm going to go ahead and now, just for grins and giggles, create another screen. I'm going to call that as the notify. Yeah, the notify screen is good enough. And in the notify screen, I'm going to actually make things a little bit more interesting. First things first, let me just go copy my favorite header and footer, copy it here. And just so you guys know what I'm doing, I'm actually kind of already have a demo one which I've tried and tested, so I'm just copying things over here quickly. Makes it easier. Okay, so here I'm going to do a canvas app. I'm going to add the actual canvas property over here, and the reason I'm doing the canvas is because I'm going to need to scroll up and down because I'm putting in a lot of controls over here. So one of the things I'm going to show you right off the bat is in the new screen, if you go to the scrollable screen over here, this is where the canvas gets built in. So what I normally do is if I need the canvas, I'll just create that new screen, grab that canvas control, and then I'll go ahead and then paste it in my screen over here. So that's basically what I'm doing. By default, the canvas already has a data card, and then once you need more data cards, you can go ahead and add it, and all the data cards get done over here. I use this primarily most of the time in the smartphones, in the smaller, I've got the smaller real estate value of the screen, the height and the width, but primarily for the scrolling functionality, because don't mistake this for me using an edit form. I'm just using this for the scroll functionality, because I'll still go ahead and use this for the patching one. So just kind of clearing all that confusion over there. So what I'm going to do is I'll just copy an existing one that I've built, which is right here. Do a Control-C, just making sure I have it here, and it's getting pasted, and there you go. There's my canvas that just came in, and actually it should be here. This screen I can go ahead and delete, and yep, the canvas came through. Let me see if I can go ahead and copy the header and the footer over here. Yep, that came through as well. So this one's going to be my notify. That's just me. I like to focus on the look and feel a little bit more, so I just thought I'll add that over here. Okay, so let's take a look at the what are the data cards that I have. All right, so since I already had an existing canvas, when this one got copied in, it had the _1 added. But now since it's the only one, I can go and delete the _1. All right. So in my naming convention, you've seen that I've gone ahead and put in the N before in some of the places. The N stands for the notify. That's why I just did that. All right. Let's just spend 2 minutes looking at how I built this canvas over here. Just to make it easier, it's not mandatory in any way that in Canvas you just need to absolutely add only one information over there, where in this case I had to have one data card just for first name, one data card just for last name. No, this is completely up to you. My personal way of working is that I kind of break it down at least into a group. And that's what I did. I went in the top data card, I put in the names, the first name and the last name. In the second data card, I went and put in the entire address, so which is the street, city, state, zip. It just helps. It's kind of on me. I'm kind of doing an auto grouping over there. I don't even group them manually. And then finally, in this section is the actual name or the contact information. Now, in addition, what I want to do is that I want to make sure that if I say go ahead and add a save button, I'm going to come over here, I'm going to go to icons, I'm going to look for my save, and that save button comes over here. Let me kind of make it nice and call this as the N for notify save icon, and change its color to something nice. What I want to do now using this notify function is kind of say that, hey, if I go and actually try to save it, first thing I want an app to be smart enough to say, hey, you haven't filled out any of these fields yet, and it should point out on the top where these fields are unfilled. So for just a good way to start beginning with it, the first one I want to do is let me just make a simple one just on the top. So what I'll do is here on the icon or the save button in its on select, watch how I type in this function. So I'm going to put in an if. And in the if, what I'm going to first use is what you guys may have already used is the is blank. And the is blank, I'm saying that if the first name input text, which is this one, see how that got highlighted? If that one is blank, then I want you to notify the end user that, hey, you need to go ahead and finish off the first name. And so now it is notify. Let's see, hit notify, and in notify now I type in the text that first name is required, and I'm going to notify it as if it's an error. Now watch this. There's different types of notification options over there. There's a notify error, there's a notify information, and then there's a notify success, warning. Beautiful different options available depending on the scenarios that you have. But for the sake of the demo over here, I want to actually say that, hey, this is an error. You need to actually put in the name, and so I'm going to put the error function here. But as you can see, now that I've shown you how to do it, you see the other three options as well. Because it might just be, hey, an FYI, that when you click on it, just make sure that, you want to tell someone that, hey, everything is good. Just this is an information over here. Sometimes people go ahead above and beyond to put in a pop-up box. Hey, I actually did one in the past, and this is, not a bad thing if you did the pop-up box, because I actually still have that. But this is just one of those information where if you just want to give an FYI type of information, then you can use the notify type information. Success is another great one. If somebody went ahead and filled out all the forms over there and they hit submit, if you just say, hey, it's success, use that one over there, and you have the flexibility to type in your own text over here too. But back to what I was saying before I digressed, this is the one I want. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and just as a test, this is all that I'll do, okay? So let's just say that I came in here and I started filling in all the information and whatnot, but I forgot to put in the first name. Now if I hit save, watch what happens. Since it was error, the green color, the red color came up, and it came right on the top over there. The first name is required, okay? So now that you saw how I went ahead and did this, I'm going to do a quick copy and paste to kind of just add all the other ones as well. So do that. And then last, I've got the cell phone number. Now, since it's the last one, I just got to be careful that I don't have the comma over here, and everything is good on this side. So say now, if I just hit save, it always finds the one on the top. The topmost the one is found. So if I just hit Joe was already here, which means I filled, or John, I filled that over here. The next one that falls in line is city. So watch, if I hit save, now it says city is required. If I went ahead and filled in the state too, it'll still come back and say city. Now if I put in city, that's going to come back to the zip code over there. So I hit that, and now the zip code comes up. So you kind of get the idea. But you know what? Let's not stop over there, because what I want to do is I want to kind of get that SetFocus I just showed you. Let's kind of add that over here so we can build up on what I just showed you and how I taught you. So watch this change. I'm going to actually take this existing formula that I have, and I'm going to replace it with a new formula. So first thing I'm going to do is I'll copy this. I'll go and comment this out, but in here I'm going to say if there's a notification error on the first name, I'm going to put a semicolon, and then I'm going to say set focus on this one over here, first name text. And I got double set focuses over here. Set focus on the first name text, and close that and comma. Now just think it through what I just did. In here I've gone ahead and said that if the first name text is blank, you want to go ahead and put in that warning up there, okay, that error which comes up, hey, your first name is blank. But after that, I want the cursor to go straight to the first name text over there, because that's where the user has to go ahead and make the change. So I'm literally helping the end user doing two things: telling that there's an error, and then taking your cursor and focusing it directly on the place where that fix needs to be done. So let me just show it to you what happens. Do that. Let's just say I got nothing here. Now if I go ahead and do save, watch, two things going to happen. That error notification will come up, and now the cursor will straight away go and blink on where I've told it to. See that? The error came up, and watch, the cursor came in over there. Did you see that? You didn't? Let me go and show that to you again. Watch. Just to make sure, hey, I've gone ahead and put my cursor over here, just like any user would do, but I'm going to try to save it. Two things are going to happen. It's going to go ahead and give that warning over there or the error, but it'll now take the cursor straight back to the first name. So watch what happens. See that? The error came up and the cursor went over there. So this is the beauty of making this app, for lack of a better term, as stupid friendly as possible, because now you're actually telling the user two things. You're telling, hey, you made a mistake, so go and fix that. And second thing is, oh, by the way, I'm already showing you where the mistake is. So it's fantastic, this notify expression over here. So just, for the consistency's sake, let me go ahead and finish up all this formula over here, because now you'll see how I'm doing that. So I did already that for the first name. What I'll do is I'll just put this last one over here, because you kind of get the idea of it, and I can show you that as some examples as well. So state text here, and I'll go ahead and close that. So now you can see that I've added that to a few, which means that, say I went ahead and did put in the John over here, but I forgot to put in the city. If I try to save it, it's going to come back and say, hey, city is required over here. So you kind of get the idea. That's really neat that I was able to now factor in. I showed you how the notify worked, but I took it to the next level by going ahead and getting the SetFocus. So this is how the notify works. Now let's take a look at the with function. Okay, so let me go ahead and now close this, save it. Just kind of building upon the app. And what I'll also do is I'm going to post this blog in the Power Users community over there. And in the blog, I'll actually give you a copy of this app so you can actually see how the formulas and everything. Okay, so let me go ahead and now create a new screen. I'm going to call that screen as the with function screen. Okay. Now the with function screen, some of you guys who are kind of into accounting and things like that, work with that, I had that experience. You kind of might like this example that I have, because I am putting in some information about interest rate and loans and things like that. So it was just a good example for me to kind of show to you how the with function really helps. So in a nutshell, what the with does is it allows you to make a formula look easy by using variables. Or a good example is it allows you to use make formulas look easy with the use of variables over here. So let me kind of show that to you. Again, let me just grab my two favorites over here. Again, this is not necessary. This is just my style. I like to make things look a little nicer. So, and plus I'm going to hand this over to you guys. So now you will know when you come to the screen that, oh, this is to do with the notify, or this one is to do with the with function, right? Not necessary. I'm just doing it because I'm going to hand over this app to you guys. So I'm going to hit save. Let me go ahead and publish it too. So I already have a copy of it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to build an app where I'll add some sliders to it, and I'm going to give you the kind of user interface so that you can see that this is going to be the monthly payment of your house, and I'm giving you the options to go ahead and increase the rate, loan amount, number of years, but I want to see what the final payment is. What I'll show you is that the actual formula can be a little complicated. But thanks to the with function, I can go ahead and make the formula look a lot easier with the help of the with function, where I can factor in some variables. Alright, so let's first actually build the actual demo. So I'm going to copy it from my test app over here, and I'll just show it to you that this is again a very simple place. What I've done is I've gone ahead and just added some labels. Again, nothing fancy in the label. Let me just kind of move things around a little bit. And then the other thing that I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and get some sliders. So let me get some sliders over here, the slider controls. And each of the sliders, one is, it's just basically assigned to everything over here. I put in sliders. You could put in a text label over there, and then go in and then put in numbers. The slider just makes the user interface look a little nicer. That's the only reason I put it there. No real hard and fast rule. So did that. Same thing over here, just making it look a little nicer. And then in the last piece, I'm going to now put in a text box. So let me just drop a text box over here. Yeah, make the text a little bigger, just so that you guys can see the total amount. Oh, make it a little bit less. Okay, So now, as you can see over here, the loan amount, the interest rate, these are all sliders over here. What I want to do now is actually calculate the formula. Now here's how the formula works. In the default value, I am going to put in see the sliders. This is the actual formula. All right, copy it here, and I'm trying to make it as user friendly because I put in labels. Now normally what the formula would do is it would actually have you know, this one at the end, actually, comma, and what I'm telling is that in the interest rate slider, I'm going to use that to go ahead and get the actual interest rate. The loan slider is the actual loan amount. The number of years I'm using the end slider, but see here I've gone ahead and used variables. That's the beauty of the with function, because anything, if a formula gets too calculated, I can break it down into bits and pieces, and that bits and pieces I can assign it to a variable. And that's exactly what I did over here. I went ahead and did the interest rate. It has its own big massive formula over here, and it's kind of a little confusing, so I just assigned that piece of the formula to a variable in that with function, which in this case is R. Same thing for the loan amount. You know, it's the loan amount slider times the 10,000. So I've gone and taken that formula and just assigned it to the P, and then I've also gone ahead and I've taken the number of years slider, and which is, you know, multiplied that by 12. Gone ahead and added all of this over here, and so the final formula, you know, for the actual calculation, it just looks like this. That's all it does. And then I go ahead and close it with the bracket, or I can do that here. So now you see the exact R, the variables that I had, or the values, which was the R, P, or NN. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm actually getting the full amount, which is R times P, you know, divided by 1 minus blah blah blah, this complex formula. It's a little easier now, because if you had gone ahead and just done it with all of this, imagine how that would look. And say in the future if the formula changes, you coming back and fixing that formula or modifying it, just by looking at it, it's going to be a lot more complicated. But now thanks to the with function, you're breaking that big formula down into chunks, assigning the chunks into the like you know, a scope over here. You know, it sounds like a variable, but in the term, if you look at the formula up here, the variable is the scope in the formula. So here we are just doing all the scopes and then we're adding the formula. Breaking all the complex formula down by assigning scopes to it just makes it so much more easier. So actually, let's go ahead and now drop it over here, and you can see it's pretty simple and straightforward, because if I go ahead and put in the loan amount, I can swirl that around. Works really well. I can go ahead and slide that around, and now I can see that, hey, I'm messing around with the interest rate and my total monthly payment is going down, which we all homeowners know that would be a dream. Again, if I go ahead and increase the number of years, again the monthly payment goes down, you know, so on and so forth. But you know what? One thing I don't like is the interest rate. The decimal value is just way too complex over there. So let me just bring that down to 2 digits. And here's a little nice trick that I'll show you. So I'm going to go ahead and put in text, and then I'll end this over here with a comma and double quotes, and here is the formula. You guys may actually use this. If you have, again, nothing fine. But what I'm right now, first thing I'm doing is the format is the English in US. That's what I'm doing. And then after that, I'm also saying that here's the actual formula. And I don't know, I got double quotes over there because I think it had to be only a single quotes. And now I can go ahead and close it. So that's what I see. If you look over here, it says it is in English and it is in US dollars value, and then whatever this hashtag is, that's just the before. Focus over here is the hashtag after the dot or the period that it needs to be 2 decimal values. So see, now it makes it a little bit more easier for you to do. But anyway, the extra text was just you know, a little flair, adding a little flair to it. What you now understood was how easy the with function makes it, because I'm able to assign, you know, break a really complex formula into chunks. Each of the chunks is a scope, and then now I can just use the scopes and make the whole formula a little bit more easier to understand, to apply, and importantly, come back later and troubleshoot it. So that was the with function. Next thing I want to talk about is a really cool functionality, which is using the, you know, the icons that we have, but I'm able to now go ahead and switch the icons dynamically as against me depending on what the scenarios is, I would have to go ahead and in adding separate icons, I can refer to that one icon, but then change it dynamically. Now, if you think about it, it says, yeah, Daniel, that's not a biggie, but think about it. This is new. In the past, we didn't have this functionality, and I myself, when I build apps, based on what the condition was, I would actually make an app or an icon invisible, and I'd turn on another icon. So in a scenario, I could have up to 3, maybe 4 icons over here. And I'm going to show you that scenario over here where in the past I would actually have a 3 icons of the happy faces or the the emojis. But now, thanks to the functionality of me using the icons, I can go ahead and now just use one icon and then switch it. So let me come back over here now. Let me go ahead and create another screen. Let me save it. And publish it. Come back. And we'll add a new screen. Let's call this as the add, find, switch screen. Again, going ahead and grabbing my header and the footer. Just makes it a little bit more easier. And then I'll change this one to the add, find, and switch icons. Right, cool. So let me show you an example of what I'm trying to do, kind of just to explain this thing really nicely. What I'm going to do is I am going to add a nice little gallery, and in the gallery I'm saving some ratings in that gallery. Rating could be for anything. Rating is rating if how you held service on the phone call support, how you did whatever. It's a rating app. I'm recording the rating. Now, if any of the rating value is, say, the value is up from anywhere from 1 or 0 to 5, then that's a low rating. Anything which is greater than 5 to, I think I put it as 7 or 8, then that's medium rating. But anything which is greater than 8, that's a good rating. And based on that, I want the emojis to kind of reflect that. So if it's a low rating, then I want it as a sad emoji, and I want the color to be red. If it is a medium red emoji, then it just should be the emoji should be a very plain emoji, no emotions, but it also should be kind of yellow or orange in color. But if it is a higher rating, then it should be a smiling emoji, and it has to be green in color. Now, imagine what I'm doing. I'm changing the colors, which is one thing, but I'm adding 3 different emojis over there, which 3 different emoji types. But I don't actually have to add 3 different icons for each of the emojis. I can just go ahead and now use the find and switch functionality there. So let me kind of first prep the gallery. So I'm going to come over here, and what I can do is I'll actually drop a gallery. This is basically how I would do it. Drop the gallery, and in the gallery I'll just make sure that I take this out, and I could remove that. And as you delete something, the whole thing goes a little crazy. So did that, and if I expand it, the error goes away. You guys have seen this before. So I'll just keep that. I don't need this one, so I'll delete it. But what I do need inside is an icon, and the first one I think I'll start with is a sad. Let me just get an icon which has the sad one. So got that over here nicely, and let me just make sure that I name the gallery first properly. So I'm going to call it as add, find, switch. I got separator, I got and I got title. I don't need the next, so I'll go ahead and delete that, and I think I'm good for now. So I'm down on the gallery side, at least to go ahead and set the gallery. I'm just saving it and publishing it. Let me go and now create my place where I go ahead and save the stuff. So let me drop a label over here. On the label, I just say add your rating. Make sure it's nice and dark, and font size we get 28. add your rating, and then I'll drop a text column here, because that text one is where we're gonna actually put in the rating amount. And make that also say, what was that one? 28 bold. I'll take the default away. Not take the whole thing away, just the values over here. Okay, got that. Let me save it. So, well, I gotta add a submit button too. Let me drop a submit button. I'll show you something interesting. You guys may already know, anybody of you who have attended my workshops, I kind of shown you this little trick over here. So if you, the size, width, height, and the radius, if you do it the exact same amount, it turns out to be a perfect circle. See? It was the size and the width, height, and the border radius. So I'm just going to change that to submit, and I'll change its value to say 28. Alright. So now in the submit button, I'm going to basically just take all the information from here and I'm going to drop it into a collection. So that's the easy part. So on select, here I'm going to say I'm going to collect it. In the collect, I'm going to create a collection. I'll just call it as add, find, switch, collect, or collection. And in that, I'm going to create a column name. I'll call it as rating, and whatever is this text over here, I think it's text input 2. Yeah, text input 2 dot text, I think. Yeah. Then I'll go ahead and save that, and then I'll reset it as well, so that this just gets reset. After I add something, the text box just gets reset. That's 2. Alright, so let's do a quick little test. Oh, actually, in the gallery itself, I need to change that gallery to this new collection that I did, and I call this collection as add, find, switch, col. So that's what I do. Add, find, switch, collect. So in that collection, I got the icon, but the text over here, this text needs to be the rating amount. Okay, cool. So let's do a test. So I put in 1, submit, the 1 shows up over there. 2, submit, the 2 shows up. 10. Alright, so now I haven't done anything to the icons yet, but let's go ahead and play around with that. So on the icon, I want to do a few things. In the icon, what I want to do, like I said, is that if the value is 0 or greater than 0, but 5 or less than 5, then I just want this as a sad emoji, which is just like that. But I also want to change the color to red. So first, let's just focus on the icon type. So what I'm going to do is on the icon itself, on the icon, I'm going to now make it dynamic, because remember, if you look over here or if you look over here, all I have is one icon. So no longer am I doing the visible true false, which is hide and show, but now I'm actually using the icon option, because I can just put in one icon, but I can switch things around. And if you just want to look at it, watch over here. Right here, when I click on it, it gives me the functionality to switch all the icons as well. So the flexibility to add icons was actually kind of fairly new. It's been there around for a few months now, but now with the combination of the switching around with the width function, not the width function, but the functionality to go and switch icons, is just great. And while I do that, I need to, because I almost made a mistake, let me just add, find, and switch icons. So now let's go back over here, and I'm going to now actually make it a little bit more dynamic. So what I'm going to do is here I'm going to start typing in an if function. Now if the value of this item, this item's rating, all right, remember the rating was actually the value that I'm feeding in. So in that item's rating, if that rating, and actually, you know what, before I put the value, just to say this item rating, if that is greater than and equal to 0, and if the value, and if this item dot rating is less than or equal to 5, then add the sad emoji. Let's just do it as a test. Okay, I'm trying to save it and I'm getting some red squiggly lines. So let's take a look at what the red squiggly line is. Hover my mouse around and it's just saying, hey, invalid argument type, expecting a number value. So what I'm thinking is that the way the data is stored in the gallery, it is, it's expecting a number type over here, but for some reason it's actually saving it as a text. So I just temporarily need to, not temporarily, but I do need to just go ahead and switch it over here. And that's why I put that, encompass that into value. And this is, a good tidbit for you guys, because in the future you might run into a similar situation that for some reason you saved your data as text, but when types of comparisons like that happen, you need a number value, and this is how you do it. So watch what happens. If anything is less than 5, you put in the sad emoji, and that's what happened. Because check this out. Now the gallery has become dynamic for the icons. 1 is less than 5, 2 is less than 5, so I got the sad emojis. 10 is greater than 5, so the sad emoji just disappeared. So it's working, but let's go ahead and add some more stuff to it, okay? So let's now keep adding in the if, and I'm going to kind of take this and do some copying and pasting because we want to tweak it. So here now I'm going to say that if it is greater than 5 and if it is less than or equal to, say, 8, I'm going to change the emoji to, say, it's going to be an emoji which is neutral, right? And then I'm going to add the last piece over here. But if the rating, I said less than and greater, less than or equal to 8, which means over here I'll make it greater than 8. And if it is less than or equal to, say, 10, then it's going to be an emoji which is going to smile. And let me take that comma off. And now, let me just add this over here. Oh, it's not in. It's got to be outside. What I'm doing is I'm just adding a place to go ahead and refresh the collect, or in this case it's just called clear. So this guy is on select, clear, and yeah, alright, so that just makes it easier. So if I go here and I just do a collect, clear, that happens. So let's just do a good test. First one is rating is 1, we're going to get a sad emoji. Let me do a 6, we're going to get a medium or emoji. If I go to a 9, we're going to get a happy emoji. So it's working. This is beautiful because now the icons are changing dynamically. Remember, only one icon, and I'm able to change the icons type thanks to the ability for me to find and switch icons. I'm able to add it, find it, and switch the icons. Okay, but you know what? That's good, but I want to take it to the next level. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to work on the color piece. And if you figured this out, the color is almost the exact same. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just copy this, because watch what happens. I'm going to copy it, and icons, they don't use fill, they use color. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to drop this in, but I'm going to use the same functionality that if it is greater than 0 2, but greater than or equal to 0, but if it's less than or equal to 5, now it's not the emoji that I'm changing. What I am changing is the color, red. Same thing over here. If it is if it's in the neutral area, and I'm going to change that to orange. And here it's going to be green. See that? So what happened is, let's do a clear and let's do some testing. So remember, if it was anything that was between 0 or less than 5, it should be a sad emoji and it should be red. So I'll just add 4, and now it's sad. If I go ahead and make greater than 5 and less than 8, it's going to be a just a medium or neutral emoji. So I'll just put that as a 7, and that's what it is. And then if it is greater than 8, then it will be a green and a happy emoji. So I'll just drop, say, a 9, and there you go. So we've gone ahead and done 3 things. We went ahead and obviously the emoji is dynamically changing, but we're able to go and use just the same icon, only one icon, change its the emoji type but also able to change its color, all based on just one icons over there. So hopefully this helps, because now you're able to take reduce the number of icons that you have. Also, you don't have to stop using the visible, which is true or false, and then add number of emojis. You can just use one emoji. In this case, it's just one icon, but then now go ahead and play with the icons control that you have available. All right, so that's basically how you use icons. Next, we are going to switch over, which is last but definitely not the least, is the rotation screen. Okay, so save this, publish it, create a new screen. Let me minimize this guy. I'm going to call this one as the rotation screen, and the rotation, I'll go and get the header and the footer again, just so that you guys can know what this is. Alright, and in the rotation, what I want to do is actually make things a little bit more interesting. So watch what I got over here. I'm going to add a label and a text, and basically all I'm doing is I want to make it such that I'm going to add an icon, and I'm going to make this as just a plus icon. All right, and I'm trying to make it such that, again, almost this is like a step up to what I did before in the add, find, and switch. How over there I was able to just use one emoji to make all the changes dynamically. Over here, I'm using the one icon, which is the add or the plus icon, whatever you call that. But if it is time to add a new item, then show this icon. If it is time to close, then change that icon a little bit, just by changing its angle, so that the plus looks like cancel, which means you go and X out of that. So let's see how I can do it, because I want to this is a great way to demonstrate how the rotation works. So let me just do a little prep work over here. Let me go ahead and drop a label, and that label is to add your full name. I'll just put that in, because that's not the intention. The intention is to show what the icon does and how the rotation works. Okay, just try to add an icon. Okay, I'm not sure why that took so much time, but drop that over here, and I'm just going to say add your full name. Increase that to say 24. Since it's a label, I just want to make sure it's only view. And alright, cool. Next, I'm going to go ahead and drop a text. And this one, let's do the same thing. This is 24. No default values, change that to 24. And I think that should be enough. Let me get a little bigger. And so let me go ahead and group these. I'm grouping it because it really helps to group, work with the visible and the invisible for both of them. And then one of the things I'm going to do is on visible, I'm going to set over here, sorry, not on visible, but on visible for the entire screen, I'm going to go ahead and drop a variable. So I'm going to say edit variable by default is false. That's what I'm going to do over here. Okay. So by default, by default, the text one, I'm taking its let's say, yeah, all right, false. Actually, I'm not going to hide it. What I'm going to do is now on this guy over here, I'm going to go and I'm going to search for rotation. I think I just missed it. Yeah, rotation. No, the rotation only works is available for these icons over there. So kind of keep that in mind. Don't go ahead and get your own image and try to build it over there. For now, it's only available in icons. And again, in the description, I've gone ahead and put in the documentation in case anything I missed. You can get more information in the description over there. So what I'm going to do is in the rotation. What I want is that if you go and click on it, obviously if you click on it on select, something's going to happen. You know what, let's actually work on that first. Let's see what's happening on select. So on select, whatever is the existing value of the variable, go ahead and change that to the opposite one. So that's a neat feature, because that you don't have to actually type the whole thing in. You can just do that. Whatever is the existing value, go ahead and switch it to on select. And also, if you actually want to see what's going on, just drop a label so you actually see the value there. So go there, go to the text. So by default it is false. Let me just make that big so you can see it. The default is false, and then if I click on it, the on select will change. So let's just check that out. If I do that, see, okay. So what I want to do is, by default, I want to make it such that its display mode should be changing. The display mode of the text. So basically, when you're adding it, if you want to add a new either add a name, a full name, or edit it, you got to click on that. And then once I click on it, that plus should actually change to a cancel or an X to close it. So on select over here, what I'm going to do is, I've already gone ahead and done that edit over here, changing the variable. But now this guy, the text, its variable, its display mode, I'm going to mess around with that. So watch this. By default, the display mode is edit mode, but I'm going to say if, I'm going to do that, if edit variable, the variable we just added, equals false, then just set that as a view. The display mode will be just view. If edit variable equals true, then change the display mode to edit. Alright, so watch what happens over here. If I select it, by default it is false. Right now it's false, which just means it's only in display mode. But if I click on it, it becomes true, and I'm able to go ahead and add my name. If I click on it again, it went to false, and now I can't do any edit because it's not in edit mode, it's just on display mode. So that worked, right? This worked, but it's not the actual rotation that we worked on, because that's the actual point of this. I know I did a whole lot of work just to prove this one simple point, but I had to prep all of this just to do that. So let me come back over here and I'll show you. This is how I'm messing around with the on select. So watch this. If the edit variable equals true, and which means that if while this thing is editable, or I can go and edit it, I want you to change that plus, which was true value, by 45 degrees. If the edit variable equals false, which means while this just stays like this, like right now, false, just keep it back to 0. Now watch what happens, because when I do that, keep an eye on this guy. This is where I can go and click on it to edit, and I know I could add a pen over there, but I want to just do it as a demo, because the plus would actually help. So if while I'm hit the plus, I'm going to edit this, but it'll go into true. If it's on true, watch what happens. See, the same icon went with something we would use to cancel or X out of it. It's the same icon. It was the add or the plus one, but now if I click on it, it went back to plus over here. Isn't this cool? I mean, I loved it, because again, the same concept of the ease of functionality is what I love, because now I don't have to add a second icon over there. Same kind of thought process of the emojis we did over there. I was able to change the emoji type, I was able to change the color just by using the icons functionality. Over here, by using the rotation functionality, one emoji, just one icon, but I was able to, thanks to the rotation, switch it around so that whatever looks like add now looks like X over here, and it works. So I went ahead and showed these really 5 new hidden gems, and today's a surprise one, or this is kind of a special video I did because it only focuses on the UI and the UX over here. So just as a quick recap, what we went over was we went ahead and added the SetFocus functionality, and the SetFocus functionality, by default it is checked over here, but if I go ahead and uncheck it, I'm able to force you to go and see, hey, this is when I want you to set your focus on, to edit that. So that was the SetFocus that I showed. I was able to show you the notify functionality. The notify actually helps you that notify you where you need to go and make the change on the errors in the notify error. And then I also took it the next level with the notify and the SetFocus. I was able to tell you that, hey, here's the notification, and thank you to the SetFocus, go and change that error over there. The width functionality again was great. Thanks to the width functionality, I'm able to make complex formulas look a lot more easier using the focus over there. Find and switch was a great example, because now I can use just one set of icons, not keep adding multiple icons, but I can switch around the icons over there. And then finally was the rotation screen. Again, I can only use, now I don't have to have multiple icons, I can only use one icon. And in this example, I was able to change the plus to a cancel or an X, thanks to the rotation over here. And yes, I found out that I spelled rotation wrong there. Okay, so hopefully this video was helpful. Always remember, go ahead and put in comments, like, definitely subscribe if this is the first time you're seeing it. And in the description, like I mentioned before, I've actually put timestamps of, if you want to switch, say you are good with SetFocus and notify and you want to jump straight to the width function, just see right next to the width function, there will be the timestamp, so you can just jump straight to that one over there. So hopefully this was helpful, and keep power apping. Thanks.